K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we're expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at advertise@k98talk.org. K98talk.com, a leader in internet radio. So grab your seatbelts and take the ride of your life on K98talk.com.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
Attention Patriots. Red Nation Rising Radio is about to begin.
Please return your Republic to its original position and prepare for takeoff.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
It's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
Good evening, tweeps. This is Red Nation Rising Radio, the show that is all about you, your questions, your tweets, your chat room. I am looking at Chatwing on my phone, and we are now in K98 Talk. It's now in Chatwing for iPhone. Rick, do they have that on Android as well?
Yes, they do. Actually, it's available on almost all platforms. And it actually works on an iPhone and an iPad, which is unlike a lot of chats.
Yeah, it's great. I am loving it. I'm talking to the Dread Pirate Ron, one of my favorite listeners. So find us in Chatwing now. Really excited. So welcome, everyone. We're so glad that you're here. and we're monitoring for your questions. I'm looking for you to ask some questions to John LaRosa and Brad Marston from Four Tier Strategies. They're working with some really great primary challengers, great conservatives. We're going to talk to them about what the conservative movement, where the conservative movement is going and what our chances are, and, getting good conservatives in office, something that we all care about. I'm joined tonight, as you heard, by Rowdy Rick Robinson again. Hi, Rick.
Hey, Lou, how are you? Hey, question, did you get those shoes back okay? I made sure they sent back airmail.
I did get my shoes back, and I'm really glad got them back in time for Red State. Really looking forward to going to Red State. And I don't know if I'll actually be able to wear them long enough because, boy, those are some high heel shoes that you sent me. I don't know how well you could walk in them, but I have trouble.
Well,
how'd you do, Rick?
There may or may not be some video footage that may or may not have already been deleted.
We can neither confirm nor deny if there's video footage out there of Rick in the high heel shoes. And if you wonder what we're talking about, just look at my Twitter profile at Belle_River. Most of you know me. The shoes are there. They are now my profile Abby because I love them so much. And we just need a blue banner with some stars on it, and that's some red, white, and blue shoes. Man, those things were beautiful. I love them. If I can only really walk in those kind of shoes, that'd be great. So we're really glad to have you on the show again tonight. Thank you, Rick, for being there for us when we need you. And we have a really exciting announcement to make together tonight. Rick is both the program director and the host of America Off the Rails for K98 Talk. And Red Nation Rising Radio actually, was it our first full month with the station, Rick, or is this our second full month with the station?
I think if I remember correctly, you guys actually came in maybe first part of, I think you were about halfway through June when you guys came over, I think. So I think this is actually first full month.
Yeah. So it's been a pretty short amount of time that we've been on the app Stitcher, and Stitcher is something that also plays live. So it has live streaming. People listen to us live on Stitcher, and we broke the top 100, and we broke it at number 76.
Yes, that's correct. You guys actually hit 76 in political news and talk category, which is amazing. Just for the record, that's pretty cool. Especially, I mean, like you said, you guys have only been here for a short time, so to have already made that big of an impact, a big shout out to all of your listeners because they're the ones that are doing the hard part.
And that's where we are. Just thank you to everyone who is listening to us now through any platform, but if you're listening to Stitcher, through Stitcher, you actually are contributing to our spot in that top 100, and some of the other people there are the O'Reilly Factor, Laura Ingraham. These are the people in the top 100. So I'm blown away. I'm really, really excited because of what we're doing, right? So the more people that are listening to us, the more people understand what we're doing, and the more people that are going to understand we believe, and a lot of people who come on our show believe our country needs to go or go back to those principles that really made us great, those principles that are America. And Rick, the support that we've gotten from K98 Talk really should be lauded where this is concerned too, because I know that support has contributed to that success. So we appreciate you very much as well.
Well, I appreciate having you guys here, and I said it when I sat in with Jared, so I want to officially say it to you as well. As long as I have access to the internet and as long as I have a platform, you guys have a home.
Oh, wonderful. We love our home and we love our K98 Talk family, but we love our listeners so much. We would never expected to get that notification that we broke the top 100 and broke it, at 76, and looked at some of the other people in the top 100 and really took me a while to wrap my head. Probably 24 hours to really wrap my head around what our team has done and what our listeners have done for us with regards to this. So we are spreading the word, and we are getting the word out there that there is an entire country of people out here, and we have a voice, and our voice gets stronger thanks to technology. So I think we can give technology a shout out for this as well, right, Rick?
Most definitely. Without technology, we wouldn't be doing any of this, which is one of the reasons why I'm a little concerned about the whole net neutrality thing, but I think we'll save that for another show.
Oh, believe me, we'll be all over that one, because you take away the internet you start messing with the internet, and you're definitely messing with Red Nation Rising. So we'll be all over that one. We'll let you know, Rick. You'll be part of that. But before we go into our first break, which is what we're about to do, a final shout out to the Red Nation Rising team, everybody on the hashtag, everybody that contributes with us. We couldn't appreciate you anymore. We absolutely love you. You are our family, and thank you so much for contributing to the message that we are trying to get to the people. So don't forget, JD and Stacy are up next with their hilarity. So we're going to go to break for a couple minutes, and we will be back with John LaRosa and Brad Marston to let us know all about what we can look forward to in 2016. It's going to be a fun year, don't you think, Rick?
I am looking forward to it. Let's kick some butt and take some names and get back to the White House. Just saying.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. We'll be right back.
This is JD.
And this is Stacy.
Join us Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, for Game On. Remember,
lock up the children and the old folks.
Game On, the home of liberservative conservatism.
Where no one is safe, no one is spared, not even the hosts.
Oh, that was supposed to be a spin cycle. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. We love you anyway. Right round, baby.
Self-monitoring
right
Ebola radio strikes again.
Anyway.
Anybody see the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? Where's the host monkey? For God's sake, I need an antidote. Just do your rant. Let's pop out of the segment.
Find us on Twitter at JD and Stacy.
You're listening to K98Talk.com. The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rails. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
This group of tyrants wants to disarm us. They want to deny you and me our freedoms guaranteed under the Constitution of the United States. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Keep your hands off our guns, damn it. My fellow patriots, I've had it, and I'm tired of seeing the Second Amendment treated like the bastard child of the Bill of Rights. All of you have to know that defending freedom is going to be a fight that has no end. And if you're going to stand with me, you can't be afraid to get your knuckles bloody. If you're going to stand with me, you have to be willing to resist any attempt by government to disarm law-abiding people by fighting with the ferociousness of a junkyard dog. Thank you. God bless you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. Thank you very much.
Oh, hi, we're back. We are joined now by John LaRosa. Have we got Brad Marston on yet? So Brad will be calling in. We'll go ahead and get started with John. Welcome back, everybody. We're really glad to have you. And as we celebrate our victories, we're going to talk to our guest, John LaRosa, a little bit about some victories we hope to be celebrating next November. How does that sound, John?
Sounds great.
Yeah, it does. It sounds pretty good, right? So tell us a little bit about 4-tier strategies and what your goal is. What kind of thing? What do you really like to do? How are you trying to change this country, get this country back? Tell us what you want us to know about 4-tier.
First of all, just from a personal level, I'm trying to promote the Bald is Beautiful hashtag, because at my age, that's about all I've got left. So, trying to bring a little humor to the world.
Bald is beautiful, people. Hashtag bald is beautiful. Get all over it for John.
That's right. But as far as the company goes, we're trying to give conservative PACs, organizations, and candidates the tools they need to succeed. We're a one-stop shop for all things political. And we're probably best known for web design, digital strategies, social media, creating videos that draw huge amounts of hits on YouTube, which we did with Irvin Kane's campaign, and Chris Burgart, the filmmaker. We've done it with several other campaigns. J.D. Winteregg against Boehner, some other notable campaigns. Sean B. Left versus Barney Frank back in 2010. So we've been around a little bit in this business, but we both came at it from a business perspective, because neither one of us are young, so we've had other careers and have actually lived in the world, as opposed to many consultants who haven't. They've lived in the D.C. bubble. So we're Patriots first, want to help good conservatives win elections, not just primaries, but general elections as well, so we can actually all benefit from some decent policies for change.
That's the kind of stuff that we definitely like to hear, and I loved it when you said Patriots first, right? So your first priority are the Patriots, and it's a matter of history and heritage, but it's also just what America is. It is about liberty, and as soon as we forget that, then we lose our country, and I think that we're all pretty aware of that.
And if you've seen our bank account, you would know we're Patriots first, because the people with the big money don't hire us. The Chamber of Commerce is not going to be calling us anytime soon to do some digital strategies for the speaker.
Well, and I think that being on the list of the U.S. Chamber that's all right with me. I don't mind being on their what list. So that I think that's when you're doing the work of the people. Right. So
I actually had a great conversation with my dad, and he said, "Now let me get this straight. The Democrats don't like you because you're calling them socialists and you never work with them. And the Republicans don't like you because you're trying to throw them all out. Who pays you?" And I said, "Nobody." He's like, "That's my boy. What a business model. I'm so glad I paid for your education." But if we can actually get good, solid, principled conservatives elected, and one of the people we're working with is Louis Gohmert through his PAC, to get 10 new principled conservatives elected to the House. We can get some principled conservatives elected, not only in the primaries, but in the general.
From unknown
we
caller.
can start
to add
taking
this caller to your current call. To accept, press 1. To send a voice.
I think that's Brad.
It is.
Hi, Brad. We were
Brad,
talking
you
to
interrupted
John,
one of my rants. Okay, then I'll shut up
sorry.
and let you go. Welcome to the call,
sorry
sir.
About that. We're going to let John back up one sentence and from where you were calling in and start over, and then we'll bring Brad into the conversation, because I do want to talk about your web system and Nation Builder a little bit. So can you back up one sentence and start again, John?
Sure, Brad. I was just telling everybody that we're working to get solid conservatives elected, not just in primaries, but in generals. And 4-tier is here to give them the tools and messaging needed, so they'll win both levels. And things won't change until conservatives can win primaries and generals and prove to the world that electability, quote unquote, is not the sole domain of the quote unquote establishment.
And
yeah, I agree totally, and I think working in elections where, in R+5, R+10, working in areas where the election is the primary is really where everybody has to focus their attention so that we can spend the resources, spend the effort on winning the primary, and then you pretty much know you're going to win the general election.
And I think that's
right.
really
and I had mentioned Louis Gohmert's Go Conservative PAC, GOHconservative.com, as one of the clients we're working for to try to help get 10 new principal conservatives elected to the House. And J.D. Winteregg is running against Speaker Boehner. JDWinteregg.com. I think everybody should go and throw him $20 right now. But we're working it, and I was joking that, I said we were Patriots first, and my evidence for that was our checking account balance.
Well, there's a lot to be said for that, right? Because, if you know anything about American history, our forefathers put not just their lives, but their families, their family connections back home. For them, it was England, but for them, it was back home, as well as their fortunes. And some of them put some pretty significant fortunes on the line to win our freedom to begin with. So, I think those of us that look at this with a little different, as your father said, John, business model, right? Because we're going to help the entire country and we're going to lift everybody up, and that's going to lift us up. We do this with a little bit different business model, a little bit a different financial model in mind, and it is that same sense of patriotism first, country first, that our forefathers built this country on. Right?
Totally agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, so nation builder.
Absolutely.
Oh, what a great segue, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is about, again, patriotism first, and explaining to people when we have disagreements with people on the left, and this is one of the things that just really drives me nuts about, one of the things that really drives me nuts about President Obama, and the messaging from the left is, well, if you don't agree with this policy, you hate children. If you don't agree with this policy, you hate women. If you don't agree with this policy, you hate minorities. No, we don't. We just don't think the policies you're proposing are the best way to help this group of people, that group of people, that group of people, and more broadly, the country as a whole. The demeaning of the intentions of conservatives, I just find really frustrating. And of course, the fact that the mainstream media buys into it just means it gets amplified and spread even further.
Right, and beyond buying into it, in a lot of cases, actually willingly and or willfully perpetrating it. Right.
Yes.
Right. I mean, I think everybody in our audience probably believes that. I'm a media watcher. I have been for a very long time. I've been in media relations myself for the last 10 years. And it seems pretty obvious to me. What I don't get is why it's not obvious to everybody. My mantra's always been balance your coverage, and whoever you're reading, read the other side, and it's something that I learned in school. But nobody does it. Nobody really is informed about anything.
Right. I mean, I posted on Facebook yesterday. I just found I was listening to the second Planned Parenthood. I don't know if it was the second Planned Parenthood video or no, it was actually the president of Planned Parenthood's statement saying that we don't make a profit on this. That all we do is
cover our costs. Well, then why is your chief medical officer out at a lunch meeting negotiating price? Because if all you want to do is cover your cost, then your cost should be your price. You shouldn't be negotiating a different price, with this vendor and a different price with this wholesaler. And the other thing was that if you look at the price list, a heart costs X, a liver costs half X, a kidney costs a third of X. It's like, well,
there's no difference in the costs associated with getting those things, right? Anybody that's worked in the medical industry, right? And anybody that's worked in the medical industry or in pharmaceuticals or in any kind of purchasing or with blood products or anything like that knows how that model works. There's a lot of nonprofits in those industries, and they know how that model works. So that was, it fell completely flat on me. It was an obvious lie because I've been in the industries and I know.
Right, but the average person listening to that statement will take it at face value, and the average reporter listening to that statement will take it at face value and then report on it as such.
Right, and that interestingly goes back to what Brad was saying is, with perpetrating the message, and the message itself is wrapped in a false narrative. So the false narrative is created, the message is perpetrated, and the people don't know better and don't check. So that's one thing that you had mentioned was fighting that false narrative and those false stories. So I wonder if you want to talk about that a little bit.
Well, that's John. I think John. Well, kind of sounds up my alley, Brad. Don't you think? Before there was a fourth tier, I was online railing against false premises, straw man arguments, and blatant lies and far left. I was a big fan of Breitbart and big government, big media, big Hollywood, big education. All the pillars that he looked at when he said politics is downstream from culture, and all those pillars are being attacked by the left. And we have some people that accept it on the Republican side, and they play in. They let the left frame the debate. And we just talked about Planned Parenthood. The speaker has bumped this whole issue about the videos to committee so they can study it and get to the facts of this. Planned Parenthood never, ever should have received any public funding. Ever. Period. New paragraph. There is no justification for funding a private, self-sufficient, hyper-partisan political entity that is really not about women's reproductive health rights. Even if you defunded Planned Parenthood and didn't force religious people to participate in what they consider as murder, separate from that, it doesn't need the money to accomplish its mission. So everybody starts talking about, we should investigate these videos. And yes, it's horrible that they're mutilating babies and harvesting their parts for profit. That's horrible. That has brought it to the forefront. But why have they funded it 30 times? Why?
Right, and why does it
take conservative and give money to a private entity, taxpayers' money, withdrawn without their consent, to a private entity that could survive quite well, and I would argue would raise more money to accomplish their mission from private sources if the evil government took away that money. They would gladly go out to send emails to the donors railing against the evil GOP for taking away their funding, and they'd raise more on a net basis. So every pro-choice person should want this to be defunded. But
except that they want the
that aside, the false premise is that if you oppose funding for Planned Parenthood, you're anti-woman, and you don't think women should have quote-unquote reproductive health rights. That is a straw man argument and a false premise and it's being perpetuated not only by the left, but by certain Republicans, especially ones that run in blue states, and they don't want to hear they're anti-woman. Oh, my God. The media is going to yell at me if I say something about Planned Parenthood. And I know of Republican candidates that spent millions of dollars in ad buys to say how they're for women's reproductive health rights and they support Planned Parenthood. It's a disgrace. So that's just one of my little rants about this. But it comes from the Speaker kicking this to committee. J.D. Winteregg is one of our clients that challenged the Speaker to defund Planned Parenthood now, and he's not going to do it. He's just going to punt this away and hope it goes away, and the next crisis will come up, and he'll punt that away. He's like a football coach that chooses to punt on first down to avoid quarterback sacks. And then at the end of the game, he goes to a press conference, and after he loses 285-0, and he brags about his punter's hang time and his quarterback's health. This is what happens. He spikes the football.
I went looking for
but this is a total opportunity to change the narrative, put the left on defense, defending this horrible organization, and totally rejecting the false premise that this is about women's reproductive health rights. It's a private entity. It doesn't need taxpayer funding.
Right.
Simple as that. It's not the role of the federal government either to be giving these private entities money. That isn't theirs. It's ours. So that's what we try to do, is get our candidates maybe not in. I mean, I can never run for office because I'd probably, punch an opponent or a reporter. So I won't be running for office anytime. But what we try to do is at least get our clients to understand the false premises before they start debating. Listen to the questions. Listen to the premise. And if the premise is false, call it out before you even start trying to answer.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's a really great point, because there's so many of those out there, and it's their MO. That's the way that they roll. We are going to have to cut to a break here real quick, and we're going to come back with you guys. And I do want to talk, and let Brad talk a little bit about Nation Builder and the tool and what a great tool it is. And then we're going to talk definitely about Gomert's PAC, because we haven't heard a lot about that, but also about JD and him challenging the Speaker, who is not our favorite person at all. So we will be back. We're going to cut to break. We'll be back in just a few minutes with Brad and John.
K98 Talk is expanding its lineup for 2015. This means we are expanding our advertising base. Whether you're a startup trying to push through to the next level, or an established business trying to supplement your advertising budget, web-based advertising is a solid investment. Thanks to Talk's newest partnership with TuneIn Radio and instant access to our sister station, K98 FM, we give you worldwide access at a reasonable cost. Interested parties should email us at sales@k98fm.com.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
Abolish the IRS. Take all 125,000 IRS agents and put them on our southern border.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride. Both ends of the ozone burning. Funny
Gotta love this American Ride. That is my favorite bumper of all. I absolutely love that one. I almost hate to come out of that break. But we're back with Brad and John of 4-Tier Strategies. And we're going to start off with Brad telling us a little bit about Nation Builder, which is the conservative answer to... You tell it, Brad. You tell it better than I do.
Sure. I actually... started building on the Nation Builder software platform back in April of 2011. It was just before Herman Cain, who was a client of ours, was set to announce in Centennial Park in Atlanta, and they wanted to do a announcement day money bump. Closer and closer, and say, Mark, are your web guys going to develop the Money Bomb site? And, well, we'll try it. And finally it just got to, it's like, do you have anybody who can do this in 48 hours? And he said, no. And I said, well, I can. And we had the Money Bomb site set up and took it live. Well, we'd taken it live and collected all these pledges. The day Mr. Cain announced, we kind of lit the fuse, raised, I don't know, $100,000 in a day. And Nation Builder has really gone so far beyond that. I mean, seeing the changes in it. And in essence, everybody talks about big data, and whether you're talking about big data or small data, you need to manage it well. And Nation Builder is, at its heart, a database management system that you can then wrap this beautiful website around. And the Democrats, you look at any top-line Democrat, and they're going to be on NGP van. And Nation Builder is nonpartisan. A lot of people were sort of worried about Nation Builder because, well, it was started by some guys who, some worked on the Kerry campaign, some worked on the Obama campaign. And it's like, oh, well, the Democrats are going to steal your data. Democrats don't want our data because the data that we have are people that aren't going to vote for them. And what's really powerful about the Nation Builder system is that, well, there are a number of things. I mean, I'm in the middle of building a website for a guy named Matt Lynch, who is taking on moderate Republican Dave Joyce in the Ohio 14th. And John and I spent about an hour and a half on the phone with him, and I was sort of walking him through the initial design. And I spent about a half an hour just kind of showing them the site that people see the first time they come to the site. And then I said, now let me show you what's really powerful. And so I actually signed up for email updates. And immediately that dialog box that was asking me to sign up for email updates said, welcome back, Brad. Could you please share this? And there were 5 social sharing buttons, and then a contribute button.
What some people might not understand is this is dynamic data, and this is a little bit new in the conservative world. It's not new in the tech world. There are lots of dynamic sites. It's kind of the way that things have been going. But you've taken conservative websites from Web 1.0 to Web 3.0, basically.
Yeah, I mean, dynamic website's a great way. I use the phrase user aware, that the website is aware of what user is on and then displays content based on past actions. Another thing is, if somebody's donated but they haven't donated in 30 days, instead of a donate button showing up, it says, Brad, thank you for your $100 donation. Could you donate $110 today? Or if you donated $500, could you donate $550? Because the website is aware what I've donated, when I donated, and then asks me to donate 10% more. And
you're making a great point, because the web you talked about big data. It's the wave of things to come in campaigns. So you're moving what you've done. What Nation Builder does is it manages that big data for you, because in a campaign cycle, you don't really have time to manage that data offline and really crunch. So it sounds like the website is managing a lot of that data for you.
It is, and really, it's presidential campaigns, maybe a Senate campaign in a state like New York or California that are going to use "quote unquote" big data. Fortier believes for most candidates, state Senate, Congress, etc., do small data well. Now, I mean, if you're a first-time candidate, hopefully you have an email list. Hopefully you have a Christmas card list of 100 people. But take your email list and then go to a company and have them basically do a demographic study of all the people on your email list. Because if they have their email, they can find all the consumer data about them and see what your friends look like demographically. And people who like you, we're probably going to vote for you. So then through Nation Builder will upload your voter file, and you can find out who all voted in all of the last primaries. And you see what that universe looks like. You compare it to your friend's universe, and you go, oh, okay, well, 20,000 people in the primary voter universe look like my friends. Those are the 20,000 people we're going to target. Now, let's say you want to look at, I mean, this is something we're doing with JD, this is something we're going to do with Matt Lynch, is we need to get X thousands of people who vote in the general but don't vote in the primary. And in order to do that, we need to know what the primary universe of voters looks like and what the general election universe of voters look like. And find those people in the general election universe to target to see what they care about, what motivates them to vote, what is their issue that gets them out to the polls, and then communicate to them, well, you are going to, your issue is going to be addressed if you come out and vote for our candidate.
And that's a really great way to work, and it is very dynamic. It's very engaging with the voters, and it is the next wave of what Republicans, conservatives need to do, because the money people, and definitely the Democrats have been doing this for a couple of elections, and it's a great way to go. It's where candidates need to be looking to do this kind of thing. So that's wonderful. I don't want to run out of time and especially not be able to get to Gomert's PAC, because we have a question coming from our chat room from Red Nation Rising Indiana of how would someone get involved in Gomert's PAC. So why don't you guys start us off with a little bit about what that PAC is about and what they're trying to do, and then answer the question for Indiana: how would someone who's looking to fulfill one of the goals that you're about to lay out for us, how would someone get involved with Louis and his PAC?
Hey, John, why don't you take that?
Okay. Well, you just talked about Nation Builder. We built his PAC site on Nation Builder, and you can go to goconservative.com, G-O-H. Glenn Beck said it stood for good old honesty, but it's really the first three letters of Louis' last name, G-O-H.
Unless anybody from the FEC is listening.
Or grow our house. It's actually grow our house now, because the FEC doesn't like people using their names in PAC. But go to our house, GOHconservative.com. You can join Louis' Go Team, hashtag GOHTEAM. You can find it on Twitter at Go Conservative, and same on Facebook, Go Conservative PAC on Facebook. And again, Louis is trying to recruit, vet, and support principled conservatives who will come into the House and not be afraid to vote their districts regardless of who is Speaker. Just be principled, defend the Constitution, and actually listen to their constituents. You would think that would be a no-brainer, but unfortunately it's not, because there's a lot of pressure from various sources, not just the Speaker, but from various PACs and K Street lobbyists and all the big money people, Chamber of Commerce, who put pressure on these, especially freshman reps, to vote a certain way, or else they'll be gone the next election. So we want to recruit that, make sure that they're solid, and support, financially, support solid principled conservatives who will do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. It's not a big, it's not rocket science, but there's a lot of pressure in D.C. to do the wrong thing for the wrong reasons. And Louis just wants to have stand-up people in that, really good people that you can trust to defend the Constitution.
Right,
not
and we watched them
not
do
crazy,
that.
not, fringe, not extreme, not all the words that get thrown out by the left and some in the GOP. So Louis actually, got involved in that coup attempt. He never wanted to be Speaker himself, but they had enough votes, more than enough, almost double enough votes to get rid of Speaker Boehner. But from what I understood, people were, shall we say, persuaded at the last minute not to vote against the Speaker, and they fell a few votes short. That scenario is likely to be repeated if they try another coup attempt, which ties us into the other client we have. The only way to get rid of the Speaker at this point is to primary him out, and that's why we support J.D. Winteregg for Congress, John Boehner's conservative and only primary opponent.
Yes, and we were very involved in the anti-Obama trade movement on Twitter, and we watched before, during, and after the antics that went on, and we were really extremely unhappy about it, especially when the retaliation started. So if there was ever a great example, and if a politician ever did anything stupid, this is probably one of the stupidest things I've ever seen, is that he acted, and some of them acted in the most ridiculous way, because representatives were voting with their constituents and gave us all a reason to not like them that much more, and really showed us their true colors.
Yeah, I mean, slight correction to what John said when he said there were enough votes to defeat Boehner. What there were enough votes to get it to conference, because if he didn't win on the initial vote, they then had to take it to conference. And if they took it to conference, then the conservative bloc would have a much stronger position to then negotiate either who would then run on a second ballot, and if it was determined that, okay, Speaker Boehner is going to stay in his position, they would have been able to extract a lot more concessions from leadership than was possible, given that Boehner won on the first ballot. But yeah, the retaliation against conservatives for voting for their district, I just think is disgusting. It's one of the reasons why I actually back in January, I re-registered from. I mean, I was chairman of my GOP ward committee. I was treasurer of the Boston Republican City Committee. Yes, in fact, there is a Boston Republican City Committee.
Wow.
And I just went, you know what? This party doesn't reflect my values. And so I registered independent, saying, you know what? I'm a conservative first. Can't be a Republican anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. I found myself in that same boat many years ago, but that's what being a political science student will do to you. So it'll either really close your eyes or really open your eyes, and it's kind of your choice at that point. So we talked to J.D. Winterig last week, and we really our chat room, our group loved him, and I know that you guys are working with him and wanted to make sure that we mentioned his website, which is J.D. Winterig, which is winteregg.com.
As he says,
which is also
winter like the season, egg like the food.
Like the fruit?
No, like the winter like the season, egg like the food.
Oh, the food. I thought you said fruit, which is really funny. Fruit from a chicken. But yeah, that's a really good way to say it. But that, you know, we really liked him. He was really great. He lit up our chat room. So I think you've got a really great candidate there. Some of the answers to some of the questions that we posed to him were very well received in our chat room. So that bodes really well for what you're doing with him, I think.
Well, we hope so.
Yeah, I think
we're just getting started, but we're very optimistic, and we've done the polling in the district, which a lot of people don't know because we didn't release it. And Boehner is far more vulnerable than he was in 2014. And the poll that we did took place before he promised to fight tooth and nail on amnesty, and then funded it. So we assume that his numbers have dropped even further from the time we were optimistic. So that's a good sign for JD's viability.
Yeah, his John Boehner's reelect regardless, and that number that's a polling question of do you support reelecting the incumbent regardless of who he is running against? And back when we did the poll, his numbers were weaker than where Cantor's were at this same point in the election cycle. And we got some amazing demographic data out of the poll we did, and because we did a kind of a different kind of poll where we hired a polling firm that asks open-ended questions. It's like, well, do you like John Boehner? No. Well, why? And they just go and so the crosstabs of the sub data we have is great, which, getting back to what I was talking about earlier, allows us to look to know who supports Boehner and what that group of people looks like, and who doesn't support Boehner and what that group of people looks like, and then running that against the overall voter file. We know the 100 and something thousand people that we need to target in order to get JD the 50 to 55,000 votes he needs to win in the primary.
Right, and that's the kind of big data that Obama claims won him the 2012 election, and his data team is famous now, obviously, for saying that, this is what I was told, that in 2008 they knew which home to go to or which neighborhood to go to. In 2012 they knew which bedroom to go to, which scared me a little bit. But we really enjoyed JD, and we wish you the best of success with him and with the Louis PAC. And we will, we'll refer anybody who asks us about that PAC to you guys if they're interested in getting involved in it. This is my least favorite point in the show because it's the point when we're out of time. And I just wanted to thank you guys as we close our show and remind the people of what we're doing. Thank you so much for coming on, talking about what you're doing. And giving us some messaging tips on countering those false liberal narratives. So we really appreciate it, and we'll be in touch with you guys. You stay in touch with us because we want to work with you to get some of these things accomplished.
Well, and if any of your listeners are considering running for office or currently running for office, we're available at 4tierstrategies.com.
Yeah, yes, that is the FOUR, the word for tierstrategies.com. You can find these guys and hook up with them on Twitter. And just to wrap up the show, and we've got just a couple of minutes, and thanks you guys. Stay with us for the next couple of minutes and hear about a couple of things that we're going to announce. So kudos to our team for the Twitter blitzes that you've done over the last week, and the help that we provided, the support that we provided for Kelly Ward, who is another really important challenger, challenging John McCain. You guys that have seen my timeline know that I have a personal reason for wanting to get rid of him, but bottom line, he's been there 30 years, and that's way too long. Career politicians do not belong in our government, and I think we all want to get rid of them, in and out. 60% turnover in every election cycle would make me very happy. So kudos to the team, and don't miss the show next week. Same bat channel, same batch time. We'll have Gene Baradelli and JD and Stacy are coming up next. Rick, do you want to say anything about Gene that's going to be on next week, since you know him better than I do?
Well, Gene is actually one of the hosts here on K98 Talk. His show Behind Enemy Lines is an award-winning show, and actually we air it every Friday at 8 Central, so 9 Eastern. So feel free to check it out there if you don't catch it on any other places. I'm actually a little jealous of Gene, to be honest. He's actually on a station with call letters. I haven't quite figured out how to be able to do that yet. I am on lots of terrestrial, but nothing with call letters yet. So,
hey, we're going to get there, Rick.
I know we are. And I want to take just a second to say thanks for having me on again. I know I was really quiet, but keeping all this stuff running is a little harder than I expected.
Yeah, we have a very dynamic show. We've got lots of moving parts all at one time. So thanks again to Brad and John. Thanks so much for being my producer this week, Rick. Even though you were quieter than you usually are on your show, it was still great being with you, and I appreciate your support and your help. And we appreciate you and the Red Nation Rising radio network and our audience and our listeners and the people who interact with us on Twitter more than you will ever know. So thanks, you guys. We love you. God bless America, and we will see you right here next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Back down.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. Then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 $3 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.